Hi, I'm Nan Simonson. I'm the author of Aging Powerfully. My book was published the end of December of 2020. I turned 70 on January 9th of 2021. And my book is about aging and living with power. I follow a lifestyle as medicine doctrine. I work as a health and lifestyle coach with Lifestyle Medical in Riverside, California, office in Redlands, and branching out in terms of lifestyle affiliate doctors all over the United States. Well, I eat a whole food plant-based diet, so I eat foods that are whole foods, that are plant-based, like vegetables, fruits, legumes, grains, tubers, lots of potatoes, the comfort food that make us feel satisfied. I had a eating disorder through most of my life. I was able to conquer that almost 3 years ago. And my book talks about that, but really talks about the ways that we can adopt certain lifestyle modalities to be in the best shape ever and stay that way for decades. Why not? Regardless of what age we are. So all I wanted to do right now is show you one of the simplest things I do as it relates to batch cooking, and that is steaming potatoes. And you may think, oh, that's the easiest thing. You put it in a pan and steam it. Well, I use my Instapot for almost everything now because it's so easy. I'm about to take off and go to the office, the medical office, and I'm going to leave my potatoes for about 30 minutes. I have something to drop off and I'll come back. I don't have to even think about it. I'm going to start it, walk away. When I come back, take them out. Then I have a pot of soaking garbanzo beans here. Can you see that? I don't want to dump it. And I'm going to do an entire pound and a half of garbanzo beans that once they're cooked, I'll cool them off, drain them well, cool them off, and put them into Ziploc, or if you prefer glass, I do, but I can't get that many glass containers of chickpeas in my freezer, so I put them in Ziploc 1-quart bags. And as soon as you pick up the bag and hit it on the side of the counter, the chickpeas come apart. And I have a video about that, cooking chickpeas in the Instapot. So I use my Instapot for a lot of things, and this is a simple thing, but I just started taking on a food that I never liked, that now I'm loving. But the way I learned to like it was by steaming it long enough to take out some of the harshest flavors that I didn't like. And what food is that? Tempeh. Eating whole food plant-based, we get a lot of protein from legumes. We get them from grains, we get them from vegetables, we even get them from potatoes. 10% of the calories in a potato is protein. And if we eat 10% protein, ideally 10 to 15%, and we eat massive amounts of potatoes, but we also have some high protein foods in there like legumes or other grains like quinoa and oats. Well, we've got plenty of protein. We don't have to think about that. But I do respect and admire the amount of protein that is in soy. Soy milk, look for nothing but soy and water in your soy milk. In tofu, look for organic. And I eat a lot of tofu stir-fried with vegetables. And tempeh is the thing I was ignoring. And I tried it, 3 times? And didn't like it. How is tempeh made? Soybeans are cooked. In this case, there's flax added to it. I can't have gluten. And some tempeh is mixed with other grains, such as barley. Brown rice would be fine, but barley is not. It's a glutinous grain. And so this particular one by Light Life, and I like this brand, it's a clean brand, in a 3-ounce portion of it, this entire thing is 8 ounces, so 3 ounces is not quite a third. That's tiny. There's 18 grams of protein. That's a lot of protein, and it's high quality. It's a complete protein. So I simply cut the edge of it, and it will come out very easily. Now, why am I even talking to you about tempeh when really I'm showing you how I batch cook steamed potatoes, well, this is what I discovered. Rather than steaming my tempeh at a different time, why not steam it along with the potatoes? I experimented. I saw recipes that say steam for 10 minutes. It still had that bitterness of its fermentation process because they are whole beans that are cooked and then they're pressed together, and then they have a natural fermentation process that happens with a white kind of a mold that is part of the fermentation process. And to eat it, you either boil it a while or cook it a while, steam it a while. But I didn't think 10 minutes was long enough. Then I tried 20 minutes because I read a recipe that said, oh, we'll steam it for 20 minutes. And so I did two of them, two packages, one for 20, and then I left the other one in for another 20. I liked the other one better. It was milder. I didn't want to pick up that, I'm going to use the word acrid. Maybe you wouldn't agree. Maybe you love the flavor of tofu simply lightly browned and you don't mind that flavor, but something about my palate picked that up and it was unpleasant to me. So the tofu, when I cook the potatoes, now I just put a brick in. Now this brick still has its inner lining and, oh there, cut that off. And this is what I do. I buy a 3-pound bag of potatoes, or is this 2.5? 3 pound. I got it at Trader Joe's. You can get a bag of potatoes anywhere. If you can, get organic. No, potatoes don't grow up above where things are sprayed. They're grown under the ground. But what is sprayed on them still, just like our bodies, what we take in any part, even on our skin, goes into our entire system in many cases. And the fertilizer used in non-organic is quite often petroleum-based product, high nitrogen, urea, and some other things. I just prefer no sprays, no pesticides, insecticides that are the typical harsh ones. And so I always go with organic. I wash 7 of them. Those will go into next week's batch cook. My husband every day loves with his avocado sandwich very thin sliced potatoes that I put in my Brevel air fryer, and very thin sliced, and it's almost like a potato chip, and he really enjoys that. And so I'm going to put in enough, they've already been washed, for him to have for his, we always go out to a vegan taco restaurant in Riverside, where we live, Riverside, California, called Oasis. And it's actually just an outside window, and you order and you can either go in and eat or eat outside. And they have the best food. It's vegan and vegetarian. So we're talking 6 lunches most of the time. He doesn't go out to lunch. We used to go out to lunch all the time. That was the big treat. But we prefer to eat our own food and not be concerned about what is put on those foods, how they're made, how much oil they throw in, how much salt they throw in, where the produce is grown, and all of that. It sounds neurotic, doesn't it? But it's really not. We honor not only our bodies in this way, but we love the food we make. We eat massive amounts of food. People see how much food I eat and think I should be huge, and I'm actually rather small. But if you're eating whole foods, plant-based, and mainly greens and fruit, or greens, vegetables, fruits, grains, and legumes, and low fat. The only fat I eat comes from the foods I eat, like seeds and nuts, and my flaxseed in the morning with my oatmeal and my nuts and my berries, and oh my gosh, it's so delicious. And so there's fat in the food, but I just don't add additional fat, and I don't want anybody else to, because those exogenous fats are usually not only highly processed, usually from questionable sources like GMO and sprayed either soy or cottonseed, but they're also, they add to something that I would normally eat, and I don't count calories. It's lovely to keep a low weight and not even think about it, but I'm aware of it. I don't have these extra oils, even though my salad dressing has the fat from tahini. But if I go out to a restaurant and the salad dressing has oil, and there's oil on the rice, and there's oil in the beans, a meal that would normally fill me up and maybe be 400, 500, 600 calories could be 800 or 900 because of nothing but oil that's full of omega-6s. And omega-6s are so far out of balance with our omega-3s, the 3s being especially the antioxidant ones. You see, it just gets all muddled up. So I've gone on way too long with that. But I left a little slice of room for me to simply drop this in here. And then I'll put the rest of the potatoes. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Love the Instant Pot because it's stainless steel, not a non-stick surface that is made of materials that I don't necessarily want to use. And I put in a cup and a half of water. It could probably be cooked with a cup. Quite often I'll just throw in a glass of water. And my glass holds 14 ounces. So as long as it's more than a cup, I feel good about it having plenty of steam. Put the cover on. And set it, in this case, for these potatoes of this size, I've learned that 10 minutes, pressure cook, 10 minutes. And in just a minute, it's going to beep and tell me, okay, you've told me what to do, I'm doing it. And there. When I come home, I'll take the potatoes out. I'll put the chickpeas in with onion and kombu, which is a sea vegetable that helps, some say, well, it adds minerals. And I put onion and carrot and garlic and bay leaf and a piece of celery, even though I really just want the beans, so I don't cut everything up. But the kombu gives not only some minerals, sea minerals, and what would one of those be? Iodine. I don't know if it's a mineral or a vitamin. No, I think it's a mineral. Anyway, it's an element of some kind. And our natural iodines are really good as long as we don't get too much. But kombu is a good resource. Kelp, on the other hand, usually has such high levels. You have to be careful of that. But it's going to just make a little noise and say, okay, I'm on, and it will start building up pressure. And when I come back, I'll release the pressure, take the potatoes out, put the beans in, go on with other things that I'm doing. And I'm going to be putting out next week. Today is the 1st of June, 2021. I'll be putting out next week a video of a couple of ways of using tempeh that I've just, again, fallen in love with, sort of a mock tuna or egg salad, kind of a tempeh and chickpea combination. So you can bet I'll be using my chickpeas rather than out of the can, which is okay. But I'd rather make my own. And then a lot of celery and some onion and just a marvelous one. And then a vegetable cooked dish with tempeh that I've made, and it's just delicious. So watch for that. Hope you're having a great day, because I know I'm going to. Give me a thumbs up if you like what you've heard. And I'll just keep spreading my message that we can be in the best shape of our lives as we get older, when we take good care of ourselves and pay attention to all aspects of health, as well as eating as many plants as we possibly can. All right, take care. Bye-bye.